Well, good morning. Well, good afternoon. A little late. Uh, Welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. It is Sunday, August 29th, the 22nd Sunday of Ordinary Time. It is the feast day of the beheading of St. John the Baptist. Yes, the beheading of St. John the Baptist gets its own day for the sacrifice and preparation work that John the Baptist did for preparing the way for Jesus to do his 3-year missionary journey. Um, and yeah, just his devotion and commitment to doing that. Because John the Baptist um, did not was not able to see all that Jesus did in those 3 years, which is pretty remarkable of the amount of trust that he had in Jesus um, as the cousin of Jesus. So this feast day is celebrated today in the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, as well as the Lutheran Church, um, and then many other churches in the Anglican Communion do so as well, including the Church of England. But some of them designate this as a commemoration day rather than a feast day. So, anyway, today's gospel is from Mark chapter 7, verses 1 through 8, 14 and 15, and then 21 through 23. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen. Now when the Pharisees with some scribes who had come from Jerusalem gathered around him, they observed that some of his disciples ate their meals with unclean, that is, unwashed hands. For the Pharisees, and in fact all Jews, do not eat without carefully washing their hands, keeping the tradition of the elders. And on coming from the marketplace, they do not eat without purifying themselves. And there are many other things that they have traditionally observed, the purification of cups and jugs and kettles and beds. So the Pharisees and scribes questioned him, "Why do your disciples not follow the tradition of the elders, but instead eat a meal with unclean hands?" He responded, "Well did Isaiah prophesy about you hypocrites, as it is written, 'This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines human precepts. You disregard God's commandment, but cling to human tradition.'" He summoned the crowd again and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. Nothing that enters one from outside can defile that person, but the things that come out from within are what defile. From within people, from their hearts, come evil thoughts, unchastity, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, licentiousness, envy, blasphemy, arrogance, folly. All these evils come from within, and they defile. All right, so that's a pretty powerful gospel there. Once again, let's see what the Word Among Us has in their daily meditation today that we can take to prayer. You disregard God's commandment, but cling to human tradition. Given their strict attention to hand washing, these Pharisees and scribes would probably feel right at home in our pandemic conscious world. Of course, they were concerned about religious purity, not personal hygiene, but we can all relate to how meticulous they were. Still, Jesus rightly called their purity practices what they were: human tradition. Nowhere in Scripture does God command his people to be so rigorous in cleansing themselves or their household items. Instead, what began as a precaution among priests gradually morphed into a litmus test for every Israelite. If you didn't wash your hands just so, you were impure. It meant your faith was defective, or worse, you were defective. Litmus tests can make things clear and simple, but the Pharisees were using them in the wrong way. To determine what was pure and impure, they needed to focus on what was lurking in their own hearts, not what was contaminating them from the outside. As Jesus warned them, it is the things that come out from within, our own sinful inclinations, that defile us. Our rules for hand washing today are aimed toward preventing disease, but we can easily fall into the same habit as these Pharisees did. We can focus more on what's on the outside, the culture or the actions of other people, rather than facing the sinful desires in our hearts. After all, it's painful to see just how capable we are of falling into sin. It's easier just to apply a litmus test to the sins of the people around us. Jesus came to save us from sin, and we can count on him to give us the grace to deal with whatever it is within us. Today, ask the Lord to search your heart. Ask him to help you see ways in which you are susceptible to sin, and ask him to keep cleansing you. Jesus, purify my heart today. All right, there we go. Have a great day. God bless. Keep it real. In the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen.